Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the workshop of May 13th of the Board of County Commissioners. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First off, we have a department reports, and Ellen Black is here. And yeah, pull that as close as you can. Commissioner Copenhaver is online today, so
Okay.
just to make sure that he hears everything also.
Okay, so everything's going good with tax collection. We're a little tiny bit ahead of schedule. We can kind of gauge that. And we did have kind of a bad thing the last 2 weeks of April. Our online collection went out, so that wasn't on our IT end, it was on Tyler's end. So they, with Isaac's encouragement, they finally got it fixed. I don't think they would have if he wouldn't have continued to just say, maybe look into this. So he got it fixed actually for us, so that was good. And what else? The backfill money that we were supposed to get it's here now, but because of that update that we had to wait for, we couldn't distribute it. We will this month. So I think that's 380 some for the county.
Okay.
And altogether, it's right at $1 million, so
Okay.
a little over, but that, you probably already knew about that. The investments we know are good. That's still continuing to be good through into this year. Looks like it'll be about the same since interest rates aren't dropping too much. The Fed hasn't dropped that down again like they kind of thought it was going to happen. So we don't know about June, though. That may.
Which the last I think that we've heard is they were going to either stay stable or they were going to increase them.
Oh, okay.
So,
well,
yeah,
that's good
it's,
for the county.
Um,
Maybe not good for everything else, but that's good. And I'm trying to get some more. We have some that are locked in pretty good, so, try to ride the wave.
So are the biggest portion of our funds still in Color Trust?
Color Trust, yeah, we have some other investments in bonds, and we've changed around the CDs too. We try to do some diversification there in what types of investment, because when it's all in Color Trust, it's a little more volatile when it changes. So as long as you have some CDs that are out a little ways and some bonds that are out, they kind of stack so they don't all mature at once.
So for the viewing public, when if you could give a quick synopsis of how all of their tax dollars come into the Treasury, but then the Treasury distributes them to all of the other entities, the
Right.
special districts, the schools. So
Right.
I know that everybody, and we've done this 100 times up here, of like, just because it says you owe $1,000, say, on your tax bill, the county does not get all of that.
No,
So-
in fact, it's dispersed immediately. When they make up their payment, it goes into the funds it's supposed to go to. So those aren't technically given to the schools and the other entities until the first of the next month, but it is separated into their fund. So it's not like the county is thinking that that's their money or anything. It isn't. So the minute that payment gets made, it gets separated into the funds that it goes in, whether that be the schools, the fire districts,
Cemetery districts.
cemeteries, the hospital.
Water districts, there's,
Yep, the
I think-
special water districts, those are big, in Mancos especially. The libraries, those are big. So it goes to all of those first, and then, immediately, and then we disperse it out the next month. So as for the county funds, what I invest are the monies that we're not using yet. So
correct, that come into county general.
Right.
I guess that's the question, because we, even, as we're going around talking on a daily basis, the average person still does not understand
Right,
every place that the overlays of the taxes go to.
right.
They think it all comes to the county, and that's what we have to
No.
function and operate on, and that's not at all the
No,
picture.
it is not the
So,
case at all.
in your mind, how would you educate the public?
Well, I just think if the public would know that immediately when you make your payment, our software takes that payment and gives it to whatever fund that it's supposed to go to. So the county never even sees the money that goes to the schools. I mean, technically, because it's in the school's funds. So we would not touch the school's funds. The county only gets a small portion of every
Of the tax bill,
payment.
right.
Yes. So, but it is the treasurer's job to divide that up and give it to whoever needs.
So I guess why I'm asking so
fund.
many questions is I see the media in the back, and maybe the media can help us have the average people understand that, hey, when you pay your tax bill, really look at your tax bill.
Right.
And look at the overlay of taxes that are on there. We are the treasury. However, as soon as we get the money, it's distributed to
Right.
those overlays of all the taxes within that tax bill. Look
We're
at what you pay
basically-
for the county general and/or road and bridge. That's all the county functions on.
Right,
So maybe we can get some help from the media in a positive manner
right.
and educate the public to where they actually understand what's going on.
Yes.
How many different funds do you have that
I
you
think
collect
there's
for?
32,
32 different funds?
yeah. I think. Don't quote me on that. Newspaper.
I
But
think
yeah.
Leslie told us there were 44 overlaying tax districts.
I look at who I distribute to, so
Right.
some of those, the ones that are in-house, I don't even count.
Oh,
So the
gotcha.
ones that I mail out to different entities, I think there's 32,
Okay.
so. Yep, that's how that part's done.
Okay.
Anything else?
Commissioner Copenhaver, do you have anything for Ellen? Okay, I will say no.
Okay.
All right,
All
thank
right,
you, Ellen.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have our district attorney. We have Christian Hatfield and Miss Osborne. Come on down. You pick wherever you would like to be.
I never get to be front and center.
Well, you just sit right down, pull that mic close to you as you can.
Well, things are going well. We're fully staffed. All the homicides that were on the books last year have been resolved successfully. And we have implemented a new data analytic platform called Dashboard that about half of the district attorneys in the state have signed on to. And it's a huge compilation of the data we already have in-house on our action system, but there'll be a forward-facing part of it that the public can access, showing numbers of cases that come in, time to resolution, whether things are pled from misdemeanors down to petty misdemeanors, et cetera. And we printed one page of it just to show you the sort of things it can do. It's a lot of data, but this one shows that crime for the counties is roughly equivalent to where it's been since 2019. And I think our resolutions are getting faster, so overall, good news.
Okay. So how long have you been fully staffed? Because that's good to hear.
Well,
we-
it fluctuates because people,
Yeah, I guess since March.
since March, we've had some part-time people, some online people doing weekend bond hearings. One of those people left. Other people have wandered off. Clarissa's done a great job of hiring new staff people as soon as people leave. But for the last 2 months or so, we've been pretty well fully staffed. And it's nice to have lawyers for all the courtrooms and staff for all the lawyers.
Good.
You know.
So when you receive a case, you make a decision whether to prosecute or not at that point, or does it flow down to
So-
staff and then this decision is made?
So, in the olden days, before I got here, there was a stack of cases recommended by law enforcement, and we'd have an attorney review them and decide whether to file charges. We've since met with law enforcement and basically had ongoing discussions about how to get cases where we want them. So we get the reports from law enforcement. An attorney reviews them to determine if the charges picked by the law enforcement are the right ones to file, if we need to amend or add anything or subtract anything. So basically, whatever law enforcement brings us, we file. Unless they're allowed to direct file as well. So we take all the cases, so we don't have a backlog of files that people are reviewing to determine whether charges should be filed. So we, whatever they bring us, we do.
So basically, since COVID now, we're caught up. We're doing well and
Yeah.
things
We
are,
have been, yeah.
things
We
are
didn't have
going,
much backlog.
okay, good.
It was about 8 months after COVID that we finally got caught up. So, or the last court shut down, and I think it was October 2020 was the last court shut down. About 8 months after that is when we fully caught up.
Okay, so we're,
There was never a great deal of backlog. There was just a lack of people to be everywhere and do everything. So it's helpful to have people assigned to particular courts so that we know every day where people are going. But yeah, there's no backlog, so things are looking good on that front. No trials this week,
okay.
and no major crimes to report.
So I was looking at your DUIs on here and we're at 29%. And if you look at the 5-year average in 2019, we had 180.
Yes,
And obviously this is just for Q1, correct?
correct.
No, the top portion is for the whole year.
For the whole year,
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
And those numbers are down, and I don't know if that's due to fewer law enforcement making arrests, but my first assistant, Jason Ely, met with police recently to see if there was ways we can help get more of them processed, because we have noticed cases where people are arrested for other things and they appear to be quite impaired. So we've sent feelers out to law enforcement on that front to see if we can get numbers up. I don't know if getting crime numbers up is good, but
Well, no, I mean,
right.
yeah,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. I don't know. Which is good because it shows that it's not an increase,
Correct.
which is kind of what I'd like to see, not increases, because,
Relatively speaking, it's been stable the
Yeah.
last 5 years.
okay,
Yeah, stable with maybe a slight decrease.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No. Gerald?
Anything else? Gosh, you guys are quick and easy.
Just,
You're gonna make it to where I make my 3:30 meeting here easy.
we saw our 10-minute limit, and, judge gives me an hour. I usually spend 10 or 15-minute stops. So thank you.
All right, thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, our grant writer, Mr. Dobry, come on down. Good afternoon. This should be super quick because we get to see you every week.
That is true. Yes. I just had a couple of updates and kind of some bigger picture kind of updates to the grant department. So our fairground solar project is installed and completed. That total project cost was $422,000, and the final grant amount was $317,000. I'm just going to round everything to round numbers. And then the county match for that was $105,000. I'm currently working on an IRS direct pay tax credit, which will reimburse for that full $105,000 for the county's match piece of that. Last fall, we submitted a community wildfire mitigation grant for about $1.6 million, and the decision was supposed to be in February, but we're now expecting it any time in the next week or so. I am currently onboarding Amplifund, which is our grant management software. I'm meeting with their team weekly as they build out templates and reports to match our process, and I'll in coming weeks, maybe coming months, I'll have some suggested updates to our grant policy and stuff to kind of to implement that into our policy so that all the departments know how to use it and work with our systems and make sure that our process is where it should be. Let's see. I last week heard from Congresswoman Bobert's office that she selected our EOC project and will be requesting about $165,000 to assist in the development of an emergency operations center at the Montezuma County Fairgrounds. That's the same project that we also requested on the Senate side, and we haven't heard from them if they're including it on that side yet. I will continue to prioritize funding for infrastructure to provide cost savings to the county, particularly around energy savings at the court and sheriff's office, and then planning and implementation funds for the future upgrade or reconstruction of Road G. Those are two of the big things I'm looking at.
Great.
And I think that's about all I've got.
Great. When will we know for sure from Congresswoman Bobert's office on that?
Because it's the federal budget, I don't know. They don't know. She has said they're going to include it as a request, but whether it makes it into the final budget, it could be a month from now, it could be 6 months from now, it could be in 2025.
Yeah.
I don't know. No
Okay.
one knows. It's
All right.
DC.
Well, at least it's in the pipeline somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Rob.
Appreciate it. MoCo Transportation, Miss Morris, I see you back there.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I have a little bit today. I'm going to try to hurry. So we'll go with MoCo first. We got our new van, the 13 passenger one, not the CDOT one. That should be coming soon too as well. But we did get the new van in on Wednesday, and it's beautiful. I didn't make a lot of copies, but I did make one copy of the van pictures.
Sure.
So that is now with the wrap,
Yeah.
and I thought it really turned out pretty nice. And then the CDOT van will be the same graphics. And now that I've seen the graphics, then I will start doing
All
the
of them?
others. Right.
All of them
Yeah,
like
I just
that?
wanted to see how it looked on our vans. But I really like it. So, and then,
Because I did see one of your vans where we'd approved to get sold or go to auction too, right?
yeah,
think- yeah.
32.2 is, yeah, it's run its
So one-
course.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna go. That's the replacement. I mean, the CDOT van is the replacement for that. And that hopefully will be in within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, good.
Yeah, finally. And then, so if you guys want to see the van, the new one, it is starting to go around town, but if you want to see it, then you can, if you want, I can let her know and she can keep it there, for a while so you could see it. But it's really nice. So, and the inside is nice.
I've
So
I've
it's gonna
seen
be-
your vans out. There, a lot of people starting to take more advantage of what you're doing.
They are. And,
How are you advertising that? Because we had that conversation one time and,
So a couple things. That little yellow book, like I told you, we do it in there, and that gets distributed. And then now, this magazine, I don't know if you guys have seen it. This is 2022. It's basically about Cortez and the surrounding areas, to let people know what's out there. So we had a half page in this book. And I told her I wanted to do another one. They do this yearly, the book. They distribute a few thousand, I think. I'm not sure exactly how many. But I want to include MoCo in that ad because, it's part of senior services. So I've got pictures of the bus and pictures of some of the people at senior center, some of the things at senior center. So that's what I'm going to do that. The other thing I want to kind of run by you guys is there, I want to do a mass mailing. We've decided to go every other month for the newsletter because it would have, more stuff. And then if there's something that comes up, then we can send out a page. We'll send out the menu every month, however. But I want to, for June, if I could do a mass mailer and just fold them, however they stamp them, and send them out to the entire county. And the reason for that is because I know we don't do meals in the unincorporated parts, but we want to try. We're going to try to do that. And then I want so everybody in the county has somebody in their life that could benefit from our services, especially MoCo. And then the senior services as well. So that's what I would like to do. I'm not sure how much it is yet. I haven't had a chance to check, but I'd like to do that. I think that would get it out there to everybody. You know how like they do the inserts in the paper? Mm-hmm. This would just be, Dolores County does it. They mail, every month they mail theirs out to their county, and they send one to me. So we can kind of, go back and forth with the ideas. So I think even if we do it once a year, I think that would be a way to get us out there too. I'll find out how much that would cost.
That was my question. I asked you how much it's
Yeah, I
going to
was
cost.
going to say, one is the cost, but
Right.
still the PSAs on the radio, have you been?
Not yet. I've talked to Denise, my outreach person, and I want her to do some PSAs. Because she knows what's kind of going on in the senior center, and I can do it for MoCo, but we have not done those yet. But we have done some other things that are hopefully getting us out there.
I want to say, I like the mailer idea, but I think radio is a lot stronger, is a lot bigger.
But
Bang for our buck, we're going to get a lot more
Yes,
because a
and
lot of people listen to the radio.
yeah, no, I agree.
And if the time is still the same, you get 3 seconds on a piece of paper before it hits the file 13. And that's kind of tough. It's 3 seconds. Are we really getting our bang for our buck when it's in the radio? So
Right.
find us the cost and we can obviously
Okay,
make
I'll
a
do a cost
decision
for
there.
both,
But
and then,
I still think the PSAs on a radio would be bigger.
and I did contact them when we talked about it last time, and then that's why we're in the yellow book. But I didn't get the radio stations to contact me back. It was just the person that I contacted for that yellow paper, or that yellow,
Reach out to the radio stations again and make sure
I will.
that, MoCo public transportation is public transportation. And it can be scheduled and it's here in
There's-
Montezuma County.
Yeah, kind of getting a little bit off center, but Empire Electric's Country Life magazine goes to every electrical homeowner in the county, plus
That-
2 other counties.
that would be something we could do
And I don't
too.
know what an ad in there costs, I couldn't tell you.
Right, I will find out. What's it called, Country?
Country Life magazine.
That's right, I see
Just
that.
call out to Empire and ask for, I think, Brian Balfour or Andy Carter.
Okay, I will definitely do that. I also did flyers. I made flyers last year, and
Right.
I was putting those out too. So people should know we're out there at this point, but I know that those vans running around with the wrap is going to be huge.
Right.
So,
And,
so I kind of jumping back and forth between MoCo and the senior center. The feasibility study for the fixed route, I had some issues at home with my mom, and then the guy that's doing it had some on his end. So we're going to go over it Wednesday, and it should be done by, I'm going to say, the end of this week, maybe next week. So we'll know what's going on with that, and that's huge too. I think that's going to be great. I also did, we had that tech grant, and I ordered some iPads. So we're going to have real-time schedules in the buses now so that they can, we can see where they're at and what's happening. And then we're going to get Jot Form, I think it's called, to do like their information so we don't have to actually bring them to the office, copy it, and then go to their stops. So we're going to try to do that. I think that's going to be huge because there won't be a bunch of paper everywhere. And I mean, some of the paperwork we get back is, they ate lunch and, so anyway. So that's what we're going to do with that. First quarter numbers is 1993. It was a good year. My daughter was born. So averaging about $665 a month. Still not quite pre-COVID numbers, but we're we're getting there. And then Medicaid decided to do a 52-mile one-way trip and not pay any more than that. Or 52-mile round trip. And Durango, Dove Creek, Farmington, they're all more than that 52. Well, not Dove Creek. And then they lowered it to 25 miles. I was like, we can't even go to Dove Creek for that. We can't even do Mancus because by the time you go back and forth, it's over. So I emailed the state, and they are going to do an exception for Montezuma County, and I included Dolores County in that because they're the same. They're going through the same thing. They go to Cortez, and that's not, So Dolores County and Montezuma County is getting a waiver. Should be done this week, and then now we won't have to worry about that because that was cutting out. I think we were not losing, but we didn't get paid for like $8,000. So that's a lot. So, but they're fixing that, thank goodness. And then first quarter for senior center number of meals is 4,716. So that's averaging 1,572 a month. First quarter year over year from last year averaged 1179 a month. So 3537 was the total for the 3 months. So we are
Increasing. Yeah,
yes.
good.
We still have a ton more of Meals on Wheels than we do inside, so we're trying to get people to come back inside and eat. The numbers are climbing in there, but not quite where they need to be. So we're trying to see if we can do some incentives for people to
Are
bring.
you still making around, like, last time I went to Dolores with you and we did both had a talk for the seniors over there. Are you still doing that?
Yes. In fact, I went to Dolores last week, and we brought that was what I was going to talk about too now. We're doing some senior trips, and we brought a form that said, okay, we're going to do we can do these 3 trips. Which would you rather have? And then like suggestions at the bottom. So Dolores has gotten me back that. Because we want to include Dolores and Mancus, and I'm doing the same thing for Mancus. I haven't gone out yet, I'm going Wednesday. So that we can kind of include, if we don't have like, everybody from both places want to go somewhere, then we'll do it as one. If not, we can do separate trips. So, and at the bottom, it's for spring and summer, and at the bottom somebody wrote the fall colors. I was like, we haven't got that far yet. We're in spring and summer, but we're going to make sure that Dolores, that we all get that color run. I think that's really, they love that. And then tomorrow we're doing a bird watcher trip. 12 people signed up, and they're going to Denny Lake, and they'll be walking around Denny Lake with, I don't know what they're called. They're the people that tell you about the birds, bird watchers, bird counters.
That's right. Ornithologists?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Bird watchers.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
And they're going to point out the different, kinds of birds and talk about them. And so that's going on tomorrow. So that's a fun thing, I think, that is happening. Let's see. I think
Ask me to spell it.
I think that's all I have now.
Okay.
So as soon as we have the feasibility study, we did get the invoice for the bus we have. So I was just going to send it in and as long as I do the code. I don't know if we have to have a resolution to move that money or to pay that, or.
Shouldn't have to, no.
Okay, so just put it, okay, so that's going to go in today.
That's all been approved and
Right.
budgeted. It's just now we just have to pay the bill.
Okay, good. So that's it. Any questions?
One question.
What's that?
Do you see an increase and decrease with seasons? People leaving town winter time, coming back
Some.
springtime?
Some. I think that our biggest months are probably between August and April, March, April, because people are, it's winter and they don't want to drive.
Right.
Or, so they don't want to come in either in our Meals on Wheels. So yeah, I think there is definitely, and then summer, we have the snowbirds, that go, but I don't think it's decreasing our numbers hardly at all.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
That takes care of our senior services and MoCo. With that, next up, I see everybody sitting in the back from the Lodgers Tax Committee, Mr. Cloy and Mr. Bartlett. If you want to bring your entourage up here and you can sit down and just pull,
Members now that like to be here.
You brought
Perfect.
support.
pull one of those chairs up if you would. Yeah. Then again, when you talk, just push the button to turn the mic on so that the YouTube people can hear you and get it as close to your mouth as you possibly can. All right. With that, you have some recommendations for us, and here we go.
Okay. Well, good to see you today. And this was a little bit challenging because we didn't have as much in funds as we did last year. And I think if I tell you about last year in comparison, we had over 425,000 available, and our requests came in at about 410,000. The main thing with that is, it seems like everybody know that if you had more money, they want more the next year, and so requests went up about 30,000. Well, we only got 307,000 in this year, and we can talk about that if you really want to know what happened or what we think happened, because none of us have crystal balls, really. But with the way the tourism business changed a little bit in the last year, there's some demographics that Brian could probably speak to better than I could, since he's with Mesa Verde Country.
I'd kind of like to hear it because, I mean, that's
Will you go for it?
actually a pretty big decline.
It's a huge decline, Commissioner. Thank you very much, and thank you for letting us be here. What we experienced last year, as many of us in the county are aware of, is a decrease in international travel and tourism. And the international is really hard for us, guys, because international travelers spend, on average, 7 times more than a domestic traveler in our market. So one international traveler could theoretically equal 7 domestic travelers, if you think about it that way. When we have a reduction that's that significant in this county specifically, where we're more of a pass-through county, and I don't say that to be in a bad way. I just say that a lot of people know that Mesa Verde is here as a resource, and that's a huge demand generator for us, and we're all very appreciative of that. But unfortunately, there's still a lack of maturity in part of the marketing and part of the audience that we target that needs to understand that this is a place to come and stay, and not just a place to come and hit the park and then move on to Durango or Pagosa or other places, which are all great places to visit. And what we saw was a little bit of shakiness with that because of the lack of international travel. We saw some other things that happened domestically, and that's affecting us this year as well. As you know, we're in an election year, a domestic election year, of course, and guys, we also have the Olympics this year, and that's in Paris, and I know that may sound odd that I'm mentioning that, but when there's a huge international draw in another country, there's an element of our international market that goes to that, as opposed to coming to America and doing the kind of traveling that they might do as well. So we do see a little bit of a decline coming with that. But I think the biggest thing for us overall, there was still a shaky consumer confidence with the economy. Last year, the inflation was huge for us, and what we really tried to focus on as a destination management organization was our regional drive market and our domestic and our very local drive market, because we realized that even when things are bad economically for the country, if we can focus on our regional and our local markets, those are folks that are within 2 to 6 hours away, so Denver, Salt Lake, Phoenix, and Albuquerque, they're going to be motivated to pop up here on a moment's notice, and they're going to do that without a lot of planning, but they're going to go with the places that they're familiar with, and we've really tried to breed familiarity with those markets, and we've had a lot of success with that. In fact, Mesa Verde Country appeared at the Travel and Adventure Show in Phoenix in February of this year. We met with about 10,000 Phoenicians who were very excited about our market and who love this location, love the drive market, think that we're in just the right location for their first drive out of market. So as they leave Phoenix, 6 to 8 hours later, they're looking for a place to stay. That kind of naturally works out to be here anyway. And of course, we try to supplement and augment those plans with all the things they can do while they're here, so they don't just sleep and leave, but they find another reason to stay, play, or come back and do it again.
Plus, it's about 20 degrees cooler.
A lot cooler as well. Yes, sir. Thank you. That's exactly right. We're going to see a big push for that. We did have tremendous feedback and tremendous traction with that. We've already started to see an uptick in the Phoenix market at the Welcome Center, so we know that some of that messaging is working, and some of that's just the natural way that that's going to go anyway. But I do want to tell you that I was disappointed about last year as well. We strive every year to generate higher lodger tax revenues. We try to generate more opportunities for events and activities and places for people to do things and engage with the elements of our county that make it special. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to try to have a lot better success than what we've had in the past couple of years. And as we move away from the pandemic, move away from the domestic election year, I think that's going to help a lot. And I think things are going to start to come together for us. And I apologize that the numbers aren't where we would like to have seen them.
Well, I can tell you they're still better. I remember 2019 when we had like $160,000, and I
Yes, sir.
thought
Yeah.
we were going to get skinned by every outer lying community in the world because there was just not enough funds to go around, and it was painful.
Sir.
It was extremely painful. So, not that it's horrible, but it's still
not
way
horrible,
better.
It's not horrible, sir, but if I may say, this is the time when it's really important that we speak with our biggest broadcasting, with our biggest megaphone, if I may put it that way. And Mesa Verde Country, as you probably know, has a global reach. We are the destination management organization. And so we really try to put the extra effort into those reaches at this time. We believe that's going to pay off for this year, and we'll see a lot more of those fruits next year as well. But that's why we're going some of the direction that we're going within Mesa Verde Country as well, because we know we've got to get feet on the street. That'll turn into heads in beds. And then for the most part, 67% of the visitors that came through here in 2023 in Montezuma County were on their second or third trip through Montezuma County. So that's huge for us. We've got high repeat visitation. There keep being a lot of new things like the Heritage Museum. They keep people interested and excited about coming here. As long as we can keep doing that and we keep the right attitude, we're going to succeed.
Good.
But Commissioner Candelaro, speaking to what you said about those lean years, and I remember those too, when we couldn't go before the chamber without being almost
Hung?
run out of town.
Yeah,
Or
lynched?
hung.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And in doing these grant requests and reviewing them, we kind of had a format of looking what needed to really be taken care of. And the chambers, in conjunction with Mesa Verde Country, are, I guess I could say, kind of like the cornerstones of the operation. And we had some other people that were requesting funds that we reviewed, and Brian, to his credit, even went and talked to the different directors and so forth to see what they really needed and where they were getting money from. Because some of these that you see zeros by, like the Galloping Goose has a built-in winner with the train, or the Galloping Goose. And the people that are fanatics about following them, so they have a way of getting additional funds. And then when you look at Crow Canyon, when you look in their budget, they don't have any problem meeting their programs. But everybody tries to get a little money wherever they can.
Sure. Can you
And-
scroll down, Travis, so that we can actually see those numbers on the page? I have them. Perfect.
You got
Thank
'em?
you. Yeah.
All right, well, so I'm speaking to, like I said, the cornerstones are the chambers and Mesa Verde Country. Some of those others are tourist related to some extent, but they have built-in generating capacity, and they can get funds from other places. One of the ones that we did do zeros also were like first-time users, like the Montezuma Fair Board, and of course, the last one was Southwest Colorado Concerts. Well, they've been around 70 years, but they've been generating money for those functions all along. The Montezuma Fair Board is new, but then you have your Chamber of Commerce and your businesses that really provide a lot of funds for that kind of operation. So we didn't see, as a committee, that we could help them this year because we didn't have any extra money for them. And we also, when you look at some of the others, we did cut them down in our recommendations, like the Heritage Museum. Well, that number is lower than 55,000, but they have opportunities also for some funds from the state, and because it is a historical organization function. So we tried to be fair with a lot of this, and we did follow up with these groups. And like I said, Brian did a lot of extra legwork talking to the executive directors what they could expect. So I think what we are recommending to you is fair to the people that are going to receive funds. I get tickled by our last one. I keep wanting to give more money to the Ute Mountain Rodeo because they do a good job, but they never seem to change from 2,500. We just leave it there.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, these are our recommendations, and we think they're very fair. I should probably point out one more thing. The Mancos Creative District requested some funds to help with some of the things they're doing, and if you look at their requests, we cut it down to basically the one that generates tourism. And the Barrel Fest is one of their tourist-generating functions over in Mancos. Any other questions or concerns by the committee?
May I share one other comment, please, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Gentlemen, I want to really say how excited I was, and I think the committee was as well, to read the application from the Montezuma Fair Board this year. It was a dynamic application, and it was exciting to see what the thoughts and the concepts were in there. In certain years, if we were in a situation where we had excess funds and we knew we could cover the bases, it would be a great thing to start to be putting money towards. It's a rather large attempt to really bring in a lot of extra traffic to the county, and we're all about that at Mesa Verde Country. We love that. However, we also have learned over the years to look really critically at things and see if there's not a better sponsorship opportunity rather than just a grant opportunity. And I believe that, at least in my perception, speaking strictly for myself, when we looked at the Montezuma Fair Board's application, we saw all kinds of opportunity for strategic partnership and some tremendous sponsorship in there that would take a lot of that burden off of the actual ask that would come from the lodger's tax funds, and that would put that back into the hands of the people who might stand to make a little bit more real money on that. And it won't matter to them whether those folks that attend end up with a head in the bed or not, because again, we're protecting the lodger's tax fund for this, and that has to kind of be something that drives heads back into beds. But concept-wise, and as far as an idea, it's great, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And just like with Southwest Colorado Concerts, it's been around for 70 years, servicing our community, doing a great job. They're wonderful. They do a lot for the community. We do have some visitation that comes for the concerts. Unfortunately, the percentage of that visitation is not high enough to really offset what we would be looking at
Right.
putting into that fund at this point in time. I thank you for your patience.
I understand that.
You
Any
have
other
to,
questions?
I mean, you have to prioritize what puts people in rooms,
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
and you're better suited at that than we are. I'm sorry, but.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I viewed it, I mean, obviously I didn't, just to hear the explanations of what you guys have already done with your research and study, I mean, it looks like a pretty reasonable number to give to the people that you've already, delineated that the funds will go to. So I appreciate your efforts and your help, and we'll make this decision tomorrow.
Yeah, but we thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
for your
Yeah.
time. Thank you.
Thank you
very
all.
much for your
And
time.
thank you for your work. I do appreciate it greatly, all of you guys. All right, we have Mr. Dobry again, and we're going to talk about promoting access to crisis teams, PACT grant. So this must be a new grant application submission form.
Commissioner, it is. And this grant is very similar to the other two Bureau of Justice Assistance grants that I submitted grant application submission forms for last week, maybe the week before. This grant is for up to $400,000 and would help support the community intervention program. One of the things I did want to highlight on this is that this grant does not have a match component. Yep. So if you had any other questions, it's I'm writing this grant kind of at the same time as the other ones. We most likely won't be able to receive, we would receive kind of one of the three. I know the other two, we would definitely receive one or the other. This one, there's potential for supplement, so it is possible that we could receive this and one of the other ones, but really I'm just kind of trying to cast a bit of a wide net to look for whatever funds we can get.
And so in the event that this grant is obtained, does this obligate the county in any way to continue running the community intervention program? Could these grant funds be transferred to another party? Because I know there's been a lot of talk with this board about different options for the CIP program moving forward.
Yeah, we are looking at all those options, and these grants either the county serving as a pass-through for whatever entity ends up taking over, or working with the funder to transfer who the actual grantee is. But that would be the plan. Yeah.
Okay.
So it can continue on.
Yeah, and that was my assumption. I just wanted to be sure that was clear, because I know that there have been discussions about the future of the CIP program and what entity may be in charge of that.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Robert. Gosh, I'm gonna make it by 3:30 easy. All right, come on down, Mel. We're gonna talk about a landfill baler for a new strapper.
So the strapper that we have on our baler is an accent wire tie. It's the original strapper that was on the machine since 1995. And we've pieced and parted and pieced this thing together for years. Some of the parts are no longer available for it. Mr. Jenkins, Mike, is the only person at the landfill that's been to the school for that thing. And he tried for a week to rebuild it with some parts. Didn't work, and I'm not going to put any more money into the one we have, for the simple fact some of the parts are obsolete. So we're looking at replacing that strapper, and a lot of the parts that we ordered to try and get the old one running, we can reuse with the new one. So the bid that you see in front of you is complete as a whole new unit, which we won't be using all of that. Some of the parts they'll end up taking back. They're gonna bring everything to us just so they have everything they need, because they're not gonna have to drive up here from Texas to do this, and they install it. We'll have to have an electrician on site, but some of the parts that we've already purchased that are brand new, we will be able to use with this new strapper. We're limited on who we can use this for, or what strappers we can use, because it's an old system. And we're kind of limited on whose software can adapt to our old baler.
So we're sole sourcing this
Pretty
because
much.
of what we
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah, with our procurement policy in place, I think we need to be sure that this is a sole source sort of a situation. I mean,
Correct.
pretty much, or this is the sole source.
I don't know, I can call around, but I don't know that we can get anybody else without a lot more money to tie into this old machine. I can do some more research. In fact, I'm still waiting on research from Accent Wire Tie. They got to pull up the old wiring schematics, because like I said, this is the original machine.
Yeah.
And it is their strapper that's on there now. We're just upgrading to the new one.
Right, and I guess that was my question. too,
Yeah,
is just to make sure that we're following our own procurement policy, because with only one bid like this, that means we're sole sourcing it, and that could kind of jam us up. So just to make sure that we absolutely have made sure that there's not
Okay.
another company, because sole sourcing something could get us.
That would be my only concern, and again, I'm no expert in strappers, so I'm not gonna
I'm not
pretend to
either.
be. I don't even know quite frankly what a strapper is, but something like this for a landfill, it's surprising to me that this would be the only operation, but, I mean, maybe it is, given the age of the machine. Let's just be sure we cover our bases and get this thing out there,
They
so.
make some different kind of strappers that use nylon straps and stuff, but wire. And we can't go to a nylon type strapper. I've got $30,000-$40,000 worth of wire sitting down there that we've already purchased. So we're kind of, I'll do some research, more research into who else can use that wire, but we're limited based on that as well as to what kind of strapper we can use. I don't want to waste all the wire.
Yeah, that makes total sense, and I mean, I'm not saying this isn't the best
Yeah.
deal, or this isn't the best thing.
I think it's
Let's
just
just be
check-
sure.
Sure.
We're just checking to make sure we're following our own policy,
Sure.
because that's what'll get us in trouble.
And like I said, he's the guy I talked to, his name's on there. He had a show to go to, and he was gonna look into what all they're gonna need to tie in the new system to
Yeah.
the old because of the technology difference, and let me know this week.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. And as a result, our recycling is shut down. Contacted the city, Four Corners Recycling, they've pulled their cans. The city's not collecting any recycling, but we can take private citizens down there on a limited basis. But we are almost totally full of everything till we get our baler fixed.
Okay. Well, check into that, and as soon as we're 100% sure, then, we'll have to,
Okay.
we'll move forward. But that's my only question. Anytime we look at purchasing something of this amount, and I'm not going to read the amount, so nobody has any knowledge of what the amount might be, but just
Okay.
to make sure.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. If you find out something, let us know tomorrow,
You can keep that, I don't need it, I
Okay.
have my copies.
because
Yes.
I've been getting some calls and messages
I
about,
bet you have.
Yeah.
We've been getting a lot. But yeah, I'll have some information for you by tomorrow afternoon.
and you're pretty
Okay.
famous on Facebook, too.
Bet I am.
Oh, yeah? I guess, well, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
watch
coming
that,
up,
so.
yeah.
Anything else? Okay.
Nope. Sounds good. Thank you. Next was a discussion about a citizen's request. We're going to skip right by that.
They don't know where to go with
And
stuff.
we are now going to go to letters of interest for the Cortez Cemetery Board. Ms. Percell, I'll let you do this one, as the request, I think, all came to you.
Yes, sir. We have letters of interest to be reappointed by Mr. Ed Rice and Mr. Howard Kane. And then we have Donnie Tanner, who has asked to be released, but we have a letter of interest from Gary Enright. So I think these are 6-year terms. It looks to me like Mr. Kane has been expired for quite some time, so I don't know how you guys want to set that up, so it still alternates.
So it's a 3-person board, isn't it, if I
It's a
remember
three-person
correctly?
board.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What do we just do, a 6, a 5, and a 4?
I guess.
I was thinking.
What's Donnie Tanner's term, do you know?
Donnie
To
was
23.
January of 23.
Okay,
I was
He's over a
thinking-
year.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking that maybe 6 years for the 23s would be 30. Maybe the one that's not the 6-year be up in 2029.
Okay, well, if you can just give us that recommendation tomorrow as we make as we move it forward, then,
And I'll look at the statute too. I'm fairly certain the statute dictates 6-year terms for these. And so we need to be careful that we're not moving outside of the statutory guidelines. I mean, I understand the idea of trying to stagger these things.
well, I think what she's saying is one expired in 23, so since.
It looks like they're all expired.
Looks like they're all expired
They're
as
all
of now, so we
expired,
may
but-
need to,
Stagger them off.
If we did the 6-year for Mr. Kane, he would be up again next year in 2025. So that's why I was thinking we could start giving him
Because-
another 6 years after. If that makes sense.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, I'll look at the statute and be sure that we're good there.
Okay.
I think we are, but let me make sure.
All right. Anything else, Kim?
No, not on that.
Okay, well then we'll jump right, well, we have the IGA for the new Dropbox, and then I'm sure because they're moving their
Yeah.
town hall to a different location.
It's not a IGA for a new Dropbox, it's just representing that the Dropbox is moved from one location to the next.
Yep.
And who was gonna do the actual moving. That's all it is.
Okay. Any issues? I mean, it's
No.
pretty straightforward. Basically, gonna move from the building that they're going
Yeah.
to demo, and it'll move over to their new building that I think they're occupying now.
Right.
I think their first meeting's
I'm
tonight.
not sure that that's gonna be available for our June primary. We haven't figured out quite whether we're gonna be able to use it or not. They have some sidewalk issues, so we're still trying to figure out whether we're gonna be able to go ahead and use it, just put up some warnings about the sidewalk or what, but it
Okay.
should be done in time for,
Will you have your security stuff all ready to go?
absolutely.
Okay.
I have IT set up to go over and put up our camera and our lighting as soon as they get it moved. And it might already be moved, I just haven't heard that yet. So,
Okay.
okay?
All right, very good. James Dietrich, I don't
He has a meeting, Commissioner, so I'll do this one for him.
see him. Okay.
So this is just an RFP for a herbicide applicator for county properties, and in the packet, there should have been photographs and locations
Yes.
of county properties that need to be sprayed through an RFP. To me, there's a couple little wording things, and he sent a new one over today, and I'll get it to Kim. Basically, it was just a heading. And then the scope of work, any questions on the scope of work? And then obviously the properties that would need to be taken care of through this RFP. So we just need approval to put this out to bid.
Which is just direction. I don't
Yeah.
think we have to move a formal motion for tomorrow.
No.
So yeah, I think
We
the
just- we wanna
direction
make
would
sure
be
that
just to
you
go
gentlemen
ahead and
do.
put those out for bid because spraying needs to get done sooner than later. But yeah.
And that's it, gentlemen.
Okay, very good. That was quick and easy. Ms. Hargraves, I see her running in.
If I'm running, you better run too.
She was watching.
I am only here, we talked about an AmeriCorps position for adult and aging services, and so we advertised that, we conducted interviews, we think we found a really wonderful candidate. And so I'd like to, I know when we talked about it, I mentioned that I would seek out grant to fund it. And so my request is to allow me to ask the Lore Foundation for $11,100 to pay the site fee for our part-time AmeriCorps member.
Questions, Commissioner?
No.
Commissioner Copenhaver, do you have any questions on this? Okay, well, I'll take that as a no. Okay. Well, we'll approve or deny it tomorrow.
Sounds great, thank
But
you.
I don't have any
Don't run
questions.
off. I have a outside question.
Yeah.
You kids okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
got some stitches, got them pulled out, we're good to go.
all right.
Lessons learned.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kelly. And with that all, I'm an hour ahead of my E911 board meeting. We will be back here at 3:30. We have an E911 board meeting. Only have 4 things on the agenda, so it might be relatively quick and easy too. So with that, it's a wrap. Thank you all for coming. This meeting is adjourned.